What is going on, you awful lotters? Coming at you with another Obsidian Flames brew today. And today we're looking at the big card in this set, the Charizard EX. Let's jump right into it. So first of all, I'll tell you what the Charizard EX does. So it's got that 330 HP, the ability when you evolve it into play. And yes, when you evolve it into play, even through rare candy, because I get that question a lot, which I guess maybe it's not super clear with Pokemon cards sometimes, how the interactions happen, especially for new players. But yeah, even when we rare candy the Charizard EX into play, evolve it into play, use the ability, search our deck for 3 fire energy, and then attach them to our Pokemon in any way we like. So crazy powerful energy acceleration ability. Now we do have similar energy acceleration abilities on Pokemon in the current format. I believe Klinklang is one of them. We search your deck for 3 basic energy when you rare candy it into play, but Klinklang does not have 330 HP, and it doesn't have a good attack. And the attack from Charizard is 180 damage plus 30 more damage for each prize card our opponent has taken for 2 fire energy. So a lot of HP, really powerful energy acceleration ability, and a very powerful attack combos for a pretty powerful Pokemon card. So I think Charizard is going to be pretty solid on release. I don't think we'll have to wait too long for it to get cooking. But of course, as more fire Pokemon come out, which is going to be the main attackers you include alongside the Charizard EX, I think we'll see the deck continue to gain power set to set, as long as there's like a decent fire Pokemon that comes out, I guess. And there is one that actually comes out in Obsidian Flames as well. It's the Victini EX, 190 HP, does 220 damage for fire colors, and then you can't attack with it again on your next turn. The reason I like this card in here is because being able to like one-hit KO Arceus Vs or Giratina Vs, or hitting that 220 number on V Pokemon, I think will still be pretty relevant going into the next format, the Obsidian's Flame format. So have that in here in my list initially. Seems like it'll be a pretty good inclusion. There'll be some other fire Pokemon that could be included in here as well, but currently I'm just rocking the Victini EX alongside the Charizard EX, of course, as an attacker. And then I've got the Delphox in here as well. The Delphox for fire colorless does 120 damage, and then you also 2 energy attached to the Delphox, and you do 120 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So a little bit of a snipe attack going on there. Gonna be pretty powerful up against evolution decks if they don't put Manaphy in play. And yeah, forcing them to go out of the way to have to put Manaphy in play sounds like a pretty good thing to me. Forcing my opponent to have to set up another Pokemon they probably don't want to set up. And then, even if they do set it up, we could boss KO it at some point, and then maybe still get value to Delphox later on. I guess we could even go the route of including a Canceling Cologne in this deck as well, which it would be a one of item card, but I do have a 101 Pidgeot EX in here as well. With the quick search ability, search your deck for any one card once during your turn. We could find combo cards like that Canceling Cologne to be able to pull off those combo plays with the Delphox potentially. So I could see including a Canceling Cologne in here actually for the Delphox to be able to get around our opponent's Manaphy. And then for the support Pokemon, I guess I'll talk about, we have Radiant Charizard in here as well because we have Fire Energy, and it's really the only Radiant Pokemon that makes sense, I think, in the deck. I guess Serena could also be an interesting inclusion as well. Serena would also be pretty good. But then I have the Lumineon in here, of course, for the supporter search outs. And then I have one Cleffa, 30 HP for 0 energy cards. It draws until we have 7 cards in our hand. So that's a pretty powerful turn 1 attack, especially when most, not quite all of our Pokemon have 1 retreat cost. First turn going second, be pretty easy to retreat into the Cleffa, use Cleffa to draw up some more cards to give us more options going into our next turn. And then I have the one of Mew in here, a little bit more for when we go first. On our first turn going first, we'll be able to put the Mew in the active and get some value to Mysterious Tail to start to set up for those rare candy Charizard plays on the following turn. So a couple support Pokemon in here, and Mew will be like, even if on the following turns when we do go second, if there's even a situation possibly where we maybe put the Mew in the active over the Cleffa on the first turn going second, but past that the Mew will still have some value, you know, turns after that, especially because we don't have a ton of switch cards in here. I have 1 escape rope and 1 switch, but the amount of energy we can accelerate into play from the Charizard EX and our attachments for turn should allow us to use Mew a couple times throughout the game, put it in the active, and then even if we have to hard retreat it with the energy, it shouldn't limit us from being able to set up attackers for the turn. So it's still a pretty powerful option for that reason, I feel like. For the supporter cards, usual suspects here. It feels like we're in the Marnie Research Boss meta again, because now it's Iono Research Boss. Not a whole ton of change. Still 3 supporters. Still the 3 most powerful supporters in the game. Iono Research Boss 443. I don't know, it seems pretty solid. I can't think of any other supporters I'd actually want to include in this deck as like one-ofs that could have a ton of value in the current meta. I guess maybe something like an Avery could be worth the inclusion. Avery would also combo pretty well with the Delphox, to be honest, because They got to put Manaphy in play to play around our Delphox. We hit them with an Avery, and now all of a sudden they have to choose. Are they going to keep a Manaphy in play, which doesn't provide any real power to their setup, or do they discard the Manaphy and then let me get off on attacks with Delphox? It'd be kind of a tough decision to make on their end. So I could see like a one of Avery in here to combo with the Delphox. All the cards I'm talking about, including in the deck, are just combos for Delphox. The Delphox is super sick. Delphox is definitely super sick. One card actually I don't have in here that I've seen in a lot of other lists is the Entei. But I feel like Victini EX kind of fills that role just fine. And I don't want to play a bunch of excess attackers that I'm probably not get that much value out of. I think we only need like a couple alternate, more early game attackers alongside the Charizard EX, because Charizard EX does become our main attacker as we go a little bit later into the game. Not even that much later in the game, to be honest. And then we have the Radiant Charizard in here as well, which we can activate a little bit sooner than our opponent having 1 or 2 prize cards remaining, because we can accelerate a couple extra fire energy to it. So that's a pretty powerful attacker as well. And then there is a ton of room to include like a bunch of random one-of stuff like choice belts or defiance bands and stuff like that, because we do have that Pidgeot EX. So this is kind of a very base, straightforward list. I haven't played with the deck in any matchups, and I don't know what the meta looks like. So I don't know what decks I want to tech for. So I'm just kind of kept it simple here. Probably the only thing that's really in here is like a tech card, I guess, is the Manaphy, but there's probably going to be a decent amount of decks that are using Greninja that we're going to want to protect our bench from. But I could even see cutting the Manaphy, depending on what the meta actually looks like in once Obsidian Flames released and there's been some time for the community to play with it. I could see potentially Greninja decks not being popular enough to actually warrant the Manaphy. So I could see cutting Manaphy from the deck at some point as well. Pokemon search cards, 4 Nest Ball, 4 Ultra Ball. I don't have the Battle VIP Pass in here currently. I hate Battle VIP Pass. I just don't like playing it if I can avoid playing it. And having not tested with the deck yet, I don't want to include it yet, but it will probably, if I had to guess, will make its way into this deck after I've put some games in with the deck. But I don't have it in here right now, and I would like to avoid putting it in here. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up including some Battle VIP passes. So we have a couple of V Pokemon in here, so why not include a couple for Sealstone? I've seen a lot of people running the Arceus in here, but I don't know. I just don't really want to put Arceus. I hate how Arceus is kind of the solution for every deck's problem. So I'm going to try and play it without Arceus first, but Arceus at the end of the day might be the better way to play the deck. But in the absence of Arceus, may as well take advantage of a different V-Star power in the Forest Sealstone. We got the Luminion and the Delphox V. One reason I could see playing the Entei V would be we have more Pokemon to actually utilize with the Forest Sealstone. I don't have it in here currently, but that'd be a reason to actually include the Entei. And then if we have the Entei in there as well, maybe there's even a point where we actually play Sky Sealstone. I could see that. You could set up some weird, cool plays where like you 2-hit KO a VMAX Pokemon, you like hit it with a Charizard pretty hard, and then you go Delphox plus Sky Sealstone, get a 4 prize KO on like a VMAX or something like that. That could be pretty cool, to be honest. So maybe go to like 1 Forest, 1 Sky, and of course, with that Pidgeot EX, it's not going to be that hard to find that Sky Sealstone for that turn when we need it. So could see that, but currently just on the 2 Forest Sealstone. Like I said, I'm trying to avoid the Arceus in here, but it could be the better way to play the deck. I don't know just yet. Haven't played any games. 1 Escape Rope, 1 Switch. A couple Switch cards in here. Can't go wrong with that. So we got to have them around. The Heavy Ball. I like the Heavy Ball because we do have a lot of one-ofs in here as well. The Victini, the Delphox, the Luminion, the Pidgey, the Manaphy, the Cleffa, the Mew, the Radiant Charizard. Just kind of feels like it fits. We got a lot of one-ofs. A lot of them are situational, but they might not be as situational as I think. The situations might not come up to the point where I actually need the Heavy Ball. So I could see cutting the Heavy Ball at the end of the day, to be honest. 1 Super Rod for some recovery. Might want a little bit more. Could see going up to 2 Super Rod, but currently rocking the 1 for right now. 2 Artisan. We definitely need some kind of stadium in this deck. I don't know how much stadiums we're going to need because I don't know how popular Path to the Peak will be, but Path to the Peak does shut down Charizard EX's ability. So we are going to need some count of stadiums to keep Path to the Peak out of play. Is it 2? Is it more? I don't know. Currently, we're just rocking 2 Artisan, a pretty neutral stadium in the deck. Could be playing the Magma Basins as well, of course. Currently don't have the Magma Basins in here. I don't know if I need the extra energy acceleration or not. I'm putting damage on my Pokemon, doesn't sound great, but if we do need some extra energy acceleration, obviously we can just cut these Artisans for Magna Basins, and that would be just fine. And then 11 fire energy seems to be a pretty reasonable number. I could see us going down to 10, maybe up to 12. Once again, lack of testing. This is just an initial list, trying to put something together to work with when the set releases. And I think that's all I got to say about the deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My first Obsidian Flames Charizard EX. That's going to be coming at you with a Toad Scroll build and a Reverum build as well before the set drops on, what is it, August 11th, but it'll be 10th on PTCG Live. So I'll catch y'all in my next video.